Hello coders, welcome to the ultimate guide to the latest version of Intellij Idea. Well, like we know, Intellij has released a newer version of its interface, and it's really important that we get familiar with it. Throughout the video, we will understand how you can download, install and set up Intellij onto your system. We will also take a look at how you can create Gradle and a Maven project, or how you can create a project from a version control system. We will explore the Intellij Idea's interface and we will learn how you can customize it to maximize your productivity. Impressed? Dive in with us. And hey, if you have not subscribed yet to our channel, now is the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button, enable notifications and support our channel. Do check out the video description to learn more from me. Let's code and grow together. So let us begin talking about how can you download the Intellij Idea IDE from the official website. So here I am on google.com in one of my favorite browsers, and I'm going to search for Intellij Idea over here. And here you will see the first link that appears, which is of JetBrains.com, and this is a link of the official website for this particular IDE. Now, if you go over here, you will be presented with a lot of information like why you should use Intellij. Before this, you will also have a download link over here, which I'm not going to click yet. So you can explore the website and learn more about this IDE. You can check out what all features it has, the new features that they have recently released, and who are the customers. So this is just for some exploration at your end. Now, if you want to download, you can straight away go to download option here. Now, Intellij Idea comes in two major versions. So you have Intellij Idea Ultimate over here, which is the paid version. And then you have Intellij Idea Community Edition, which is open source and free. So you can see over here, it's free and built on open source. But this one has a free 30-day trial, which means that this is the paid version. Now, if you wish to know the differences between these two, so I have this link over here, which is again from jetbrains.com. So you can see like the comparison between two. So you can see Intellij Idea Ultimate is a full-featured IDE, but Community Edition is a free IDE that is built on open source and it provides essential features only. But don't worry, you don't need to pay JetBrains for the paid version. It's okay if you use Community Edition just for learning purpose. And then if you wish to use the advanced feature, you can happily upgrade to Ultimate if you feel so. So you can check out the languages that both these versions support. Okay. And you can see the Ultimate version also has support for a lot of frameworks. Okay. So you can go through this over here. You can see like there are quite a few database tools also available. You have integrated JVM developer tools. You have different build tools over here, apart from just Maven and Gradle. But Maven and Gradle are quite popular amongst Java developers and they are widely used. So if you're just working on Maven and Gradle, you can happily work with the Community Edition over here. Now you can see over here, there are different JVM developer tools. Okay. Like there are a couple of more tools that have been added here in the Ultimate version. Then you have database tools that you have. HTTP client is also available in Ultimate and so on. So you can see over here, you have version control tools are almost the same. So it does not matter. But for deployment, you can deploy directly on Kubernetes and Java application servers. So you can check this out and you can go through this link. If you just search for the comparison between Intellij Idea Ultimate and Intellij Idea Community Edition on Google, you should see this link up here. Also, Intellij Idea is backed or built by JetBrains.com, which has a lot of other developer tools. So you can click over here and you can see all the different tools that JetBrains.com has. Okay, so they have a lot of experience in building these tools. So without a further ado, what we will do is we will select the operating system of our choice over here. So you have options for Windows, Mac OS and Linux. So if you're on Mac, you can select Mac OS, and if you scroll down, you will see under Community Edition, you will have an option to download the DMG version. Okay, you can even select the DMG for Apple Silicon version as well over here. Okay, but since I'm on Windows, I'll select Windows option and I'll hit download the exe. You can also alternatively download the other versions if you wish to, but I'll just stick to the exe version. Already downloaded on my system. If you're using Mac, you should have the DMG version, and to install any software, you just need to double click on the installer. So we will go through a standard installation process for Intellij as well. Okay, so if I double click on this, I'm going to launch the installer, which will help me with the steps over here. Okay, so you can see this is the welcome screen of the installer where I'm being welcomed. I can say next. You can see over here, it requires 2.8 GB of space on your system. And the space available is 23 GB on my system. So just make sure you have the required space available onto your system. And here you can see the install location, which indicates where this particular software will be installed on your system. So I'll say next. And you can see over here, different options over here to configure your installation. So you can either create a desktop shortcut, update the context menu, or create associations with different file extensions. Or you can even add a bin folder to the path. So I'm not going to do any of these. I'll just say next. I'll just proceed with the default ones. There will be a start menu folder that will be created. So I'll just keep it as JetBrains and I'll say install. So these options might differ a bit on Mac OS. So you might not see the option to customize the start menu because there is no start menu on Mac. And installation should be slightly different on Mac, but it should not be challenging. It's just like installing any other software on Mac OS. Okay, so here this process will take some time. So we'll wait for this progress bar to be 100%. Now, once the progress is complete, you should see this successful message over here with an option to run Intellij Idea Community Edition. So if you say finish, it won't run it, and you can alternatively start the software from your start menu. But I'll say run Intellij and I'll say finish over here. So this is just going to launch the IDE for me. Okay. And you can see over here, it is just pulling out. So I had a version of Intellij already installed on my system earlier. So it is just pulling out that project and it is just showing me that. So I'm just going to close this project here. So here now you can see this is the welcome to Intellij Idea screen. And this is something that you're going to see if you launch Intellij for the first time. If you had previous installations of Intellij on your system, then it's more likely that Intellij is going to pick up some settings and recent projects from there. But here you can see a cleaner version with no recent projects, and I have three options over here that are being presented to me, like option to create a new project, open an already existing project, and get a project from any VCS, which is nothing but version control system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on new project over here. And here, as you can see, we will check out how you can create a Maven project. Okay. Now, Maven and Gradle both are powerful build tools that are being used in a lot of Java-based projects. They help manage dependencies, build lifecycle processes, and a lot more. And Intellij provides inbuilt integrated support for both the build tools. So let us talk about Maven first. And as you can see, when I clicked on new project, I was welcomed with this new project screen. Now over here, you have some options like the project name. You have an option to set the project location. And if you're not happy with this location, you can click on this folder icon over here and change the location of your project. And this will determine where your project is stored on your system. So here now you can see that I have changed the name of my project. I'm calling it Sample Maven Project, and I've changed the location to by clicking on this folder icon. And you can see my project will be created in Intellij. So this location Intellij/sample Maven project. So this will be the folder name where my project will be stored. And this will also act as the name of my project. Okay, you can optionally say create a Git repository, but I'm not going to do so. What this will do is this will initialize a local Git repository for your project. Okay, so I'm going to select Java, like Java is by default selected anyways. And you can see different languages that Intellij support. You can add more languages by installing a plugin over here. Like you can add support for Python, Rust, and Scala. Now, when it comes to build system, I'm going to select Maven over here. And you can see over here, the JDK is by default selected over here. Okay. Now, what I will do is I'll say create, and you will have the project created over here. Now, you can see over here, you have a pom.xml, which is automatically created by Intellij. Now, this is a file where you will define all the dependencies, plugins, and other Maven configurations for your project over here. And if you have worked on Maven before, it is likely that you know about this file and what it's supposed to do. Okay. Now, under main here, you have the Java folder where you will be writing your Java code. Okay. So this is how you can create a Maven-based project in Intellij IDEA. Hey, now let us start talking about how you can begin creating your Gradle-based project. So here in the Welcome to Intellij IDEA screen, you should click on New Project option, and you will be presented with this particular window for New Project, where you need to specify the options for creating a new project. So you need to specify the project name, the location where your project will be stored, and this is the physical location of your project on your hard disk. You can change the location by clicking on this folder icon on the right side if you're not happy with what Intellij is setting up by default. Then you need to choose the language. So you can see over here the language like Java, Kotlin, Groovy, HTML, and you can even add more languages with the help of plugins. And the support for these languages will be added to Intellij. But we'll stick to Java. I'll also update my project name over here. So I'll call my project as Sample Gradle Project. Okay. And you can see over here the path is updated over here. So project will be created in Intellij. So this is the folder path where it will be created. And in the end, we will have a sample Gradle project folder, which matches the project name over here. And then I'll select Gradle over here, Gradle build system. Okay. And you will have this JDK option selected over here. And then over here in the option over here, like Gradle DSL. So if you select Maven, you won't have that option. But if you select Gradle, you will have this option enabled called Gradle DSL. Now, Gradle DSL means Gradle domain specific language. And this refers to the unique set of conventions and syntax that Gradle uses to define projects. Okay. So if you select Kotlin, you will have build.gradle.kts, which is Kotlin-based DSL file. But since I just want build.gradle, I'll select Groovy over here and I'll say create. So you will see the project being created now, and there will be some processing that will happen, like Gradle building the model and so on. Okay. And it will configure the projects. You'll have to wait for a while until this is complete. And once this is complete, you will be ready to use the project. So you can see over here build.gradle file that is being created here. Okay, you can see you can change this file if you wish to. And if you're working on Gradle, I do not need to explain what is build.gradle file. You already know this since you're creating a Gradle based project. Okay, and here under src, under main, under Java, you're going to write all your Java source files. Okay, so this is how you can create a Gradle-based project in Intellij. Let us begin talking about how can you create your project from a version control system. So here on the Welcome to Intellij Idea screen, you can click on Get from VCS. Now VCS over here stands for Version Control System, and you will immediately see this particular window open up. Now if you have the repository URL, you can directly paste the URL over here. Now to enter the URL over here, I'll head over to my browser and I have the sample repository opened up, which is of a simple web framework for Java and Kotlin. So it's called Javelin, and I'll just copy this URL. This is just for demonstration. You can use any repository that you wish to clone in Intellij. Okay, and now here I'll just paste this and you will have this being cloned. So you can see it automatically added this folder over here. You can alternatively change the location as to where this particular project is being cloned. And once you do this, this project will be cloned onto your local machine. So if I say clone over here, okay, it's saying cloning the repository. Okay, and it says, do you want to trust the project? So I'll say trust all the projects in this folder. Okay, and it opens up this particular project over here. So you can see the entire repository has been cloned, and then you can use it the way you want. Now, once the repository is cloned, Intellij will attempt to recognize the type of the project and it will automatically configure it accordingly. For instance, if it's a Maven based project or a Gradle based project, Intellij will set it up with the respective build tool. Okay, so this is an example as to how you can clone a project if you have a URL. Now let me talk about the other ways of cloning. So I'm just going to go over here in the menu and I'm just going to close this project. Now closing the project will bring me back to the welcome screen and I can again say get from the version control system. Now over here, instead of URL, we'll explore this particular option here. So you have an option here to log in via GitHub. So if you have some repositories in your GitHub account and you want to link the account over here, you can do that here as well. So you can either click on this button or you can make use of the tokens from github.com. Okay, and you can see over here, these are the scopes that your token should have. If you're not clear as to how you can generate a token, you can just click on this generate button and it will automatically take you to the page where the token is being generated. So I just clicked on the generate button and I was taken to this page on GitHub. So first, of course, you will be asked for authentication. So I authenticated myself. I entered my username password on GitHub and then immediately this page was shown. And you can see automatically the name is added over here like as a note, Intellij Idea GitHub integration plugin. So that later on, if you go to your GitHub account and if you want to disable tokens, you know why this token was created. So what's this token is for. Expiration is of 30 days. You can alter this if you wish to. If you scroll down here, you can see the scopes are automatically set over here. So you can see these were the scopes that were mentioned over here on the window and they have been automatically added. Now you just need to generate the token and you need to add it to the Intellij window. So I'm not going to do that, but if you add your token over here and if you say login, you will be logged in to the GitHub account and you should see the list of all the repositories that you have in your GitHub account. There is an option to work on or log in with GitHub Enterprise account. So if your organization has the GitHub Enterprise account, you can add the server and the token over here and log in with that as well. Okay, so these are the different options that we have to work with version control systems in Intellij. So with Intellij, you can also open any existing projects that you have already created in past. So here you can see on the welcome screen the list of recent projects. If you click on any of these projects, it should open the project. So I'm seeing only one project here. You should see multiple if you have opened and used multiple projects in past on Intellij. And if you wish to open any specific projects that is not in the list, you can click on Open. You can scroll to the project location here. So I want to open the sample Gradle project. I'll say OK, and it'll open up this particular project for myself. So this way you can open the projects that are already existing. You can even go to this option here under File, and you can click on Open and do the same to open any other project, or you can navigate through the recent list of projects from here, and you can switch to some other project by clicking on the project name in the list. So let us do some exploration for Intellij and let us try to understand the interface. So here in the center, you have the main editor area where you are just going to edit the code. Now, if you open multiple files over here, the multiple files will open in separate tabs over here. For example, if I open settings.gradle, it is going to open in separate tabs and I can switch between the tabs. Then you have on the left hand side, you have some menu options over here, okay, in the sidebar, and you have the project area where you see all the project files. Now this is your project and you're seeing all the files underneath it. You can expand or collapse any folders if you wish to, okay. You can even collapse this entire pane and get some more room for the editor. Now I'll open this, okay. You can even go through this option here, like the structure. So this gives you the structure, okay, of the current file, and you have more tool windows on these three dots if you wish to explore those, like commit, bookmarks, find something, if you want to run something, debug, and so on. At the bottom, you have some more buttons that you can see. Now these are the buttons, like you can see different functionalities here, like services. So if you have any services in your project, they will automatically appear over here, or you can alternatively add the service. Now services can be any services that exist in your project, like any application servers you are running, databases, or Kubernetes cluster, anything that you have installed and they are running. So they will appear over here, or you can add them over here to start, stop, and manage them. Then you have the terminal over here. So this is one of the best parts about Intellij. If you are working on a project where you wish to work on terminal, so you don't need to switch back and forth between applications. Like you don't need to switch to your native operating system terminal and then switch back to Intellij. But instead, you can use this inbuilt feature. You can expand this as well. And this gives you the terminal, and you can write any commands that you wish to. So I can say ls, and this will list all the directories within the current directory that I'm in. You can even add multiple terminal tabs. You can even right click and you can rename the session over here. So I can say prod over here. So this can be prod, and I can rename this to dev, like so. So you can have and customize this the way you want, okay. You also have an option to select the type of terminal by clicking on this arrow. You can say Windows PowerShell, command prompt, or git bash. And you can also alter the settings. So this is about terminal. You can also look for any problems or any issues that Intellij has highlighted, okay. And then finally, you have an option over here to manage the version control. So you can create a Git repository over here, or you can take a look at all the branches that your project has, commit changes, and watch what's happening with the version control system. So this is about the bottom pane. On the right hand side, you have one more pane, okay, which just shows some information about the build tool. So if you're using Maven, you should see an option for Maven here. So since I'm on a Gradle project, I'm seeing an option for Gradle over here. You have different options, like you can reload all your Gradle projects. This will just fetch all the dependencies and reload the entire Gradle project. Same goes with Maven as well. So if you have the Maven project, if you click on this icon, you should see a Maven icon over here. You can see all these options that you're seeing here for Maven as well. Okay. You can optionally hide this. You can even click on notifications to see different notifications here. Let's take a look at the options that we have at the top. So if you take a look over here you see some lines, and beside that you have the project name. Now you can create a new project from here, you can open a new project from here, and you can even get a new project from version control right from here. So you don't need to close the project and do this thing, but you can directly do this and manage it from here. You can also take a look at the version control settings right from here. You can run your project from here. You can put it in debug mode and try out different run configurations. Okay. If you click on these dots or these lines over here, the top menu bar will change to something like this, and you should have the entire menu bar appear like so. Okay. Now you have different options here. You can just explore them. Like for example, if you go to appearance, you have an option to zoom. So right now my zoom level is to 125. You can customize this to the way you want. Okay. So this is about the IDE interface. Now let me run a simple code over here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to main here. Under Java, I'm going to create a new Java file. I'm going to call this main class. Okay. And I'm going to have a main method defined over here with the system.out.println. So did you just notice how I typed in public static void main? I just said PSVM, and this just brings in the entire boilerplate code for bringing in the main method. I can alternatively say main as well, and it will give me the main method. Now if I want to write system.out.println, I don't need to type at all. I can just say system.out.println. So I just need to say SOU. Now SOUT will give me system.out.println. This will give me system.out.print in a formatted style. Okay, so I just need to go with the println and I'll say hello. So in the quotes, hello. And let me run this project. So I'll just say run from here. So there are multiple ways to run the project from Intellij. So you can either say run from here and this will run the current file. You can say run from here as well. There are two buttons. You can alternatively right click and say run from here. You also have a menu option here from where you can go and run main.java. And you can make a note of the shortcut here, Shift plus F10, which is a shortcut to run the Java file from Intellij. So you can even run using your keyboard. So I'll just say run from here and we'll see the output over here. You can see hello up here. And this is the output console where you're seeing the execution details. Like it took 2 minutes to execute this project and everything that happened during the execution of the project. Okay. I can alternatively hide this and increase my area to view the editor. So this is about the Intellij and how you can make best use of it. Let us talk a little bit about the output consoles. Now, different developers have different preferences of using Intellij. So I'm just going to show you some settings with which you can customize the look. So I'll just run this project. You have this output window over here. Now this is just not the output window. You can do a lot of things over here. Okay, you have different options and everything happens on this window. So with Intellij, I have an option to move this around and customize this as per my preferences. So here on the tab, I'm going to right click and you should see different options like pin tab, close tab. So you can see using move to, you can move this particular pane to different places. So I'll say right top and this should move it to the side this way. Okay. And here now your IDE is now divided into 2 sections. Okay. And you can just bring it back here and you can even hide this. Now other options, if you click on other options, they are still over here. They have not moved to the side. Okay. So this particular part have moved, and if you're working and checking out outputs again and again, and if you wish to have this kind of style, you can customize it this way. Okay. Or you can also experiment with the different options over here. So we took the right top. Okay. You can say bottom right and it will come back to the original position. You can just play around with what suits you well over here. So this is how you can move the output console around to match your preferences. Let us now talk about how can you customize the appearance of your IDE. So in order to customize the appearance, I'm going to click on my editor here and I'm going to press Control and backtick. So since I'm on Windows, I'll press Control and backtick, and if you're using a keyboard, so you will have this backtick just below Escape. Okay, and besides 1 on the left hand side. So I'll just say Control and I'll press backtick, and you should see the shortcut for Mac as well appear. So if you see over here, this is the shortcut for Mac. So on Mac, you can use Control and the same button that I spoke about. So now once you press that particular shortcut, you're going to see this pop-up window, okay, which will have different options like theme, editor color scheme, code style scheme, key map, view mode, and zoom options. Okay, so you can change the zoom options. So you can change to 110, 100, or go like 175 or 200. So I'll just stick to 125 because that gives the optimum viewing visibility for my students when I'm recording video. But you can change this based on your preferences. You can even change the theme right from here. So you can change to dark. So you don't need to click on it. You just need to hover to see a preview and it'll just change to dark. You can hover on light to get a preview of light with light header. So you can see the header at the top has been changed to light 1. Then you have Darkula theme. This is quite popular. Then you have high contrast. This is also one. You have IntelliJ Light. And then you have an option to install a theme. Okay, so you can customize the appearance depending on what you need and what you're preferring as per your requirements. So I'll stick to light one over here. Okay, now alternatively, you can go to the main menu and you can go to view, and here you have this option here, quick switch scheme. This is the same option that we accessed using the shortcut. Okay, so you should see the shortcut appear for your system over here if you're using something else. Okay, and you can alternatively do everything that we tried to do right from there. Okay, so you can explore the other options right from here that we have under view. You can go to appearance and take a look at different appearance settings over here. You can just experiment over here to play around with what works for your productivity. Okay, every developer is different and every developer needs a custom setting for him or himself. Okay, so you might have a dual screen setup. Some people might have one screen, but that one screen is pretty wide and large. So you might need different settings for yourself. So I would request you all to just explore this and set this to get more productive. So I want to talk about searching anything in IntelliJ. So to search anything, you can double press or double tap on Shift. So if you double tap on Shift, you will see this particular window open up and you can search for anything in your project. So I can search for main. You can see it has given me this main file. I can directly navigate to this particular file here. Okay. If I press double shift again, you can see different options over here, like different suggestions that you've got on the basis of your search. So it is just not searching for the file in your project, but it is also searching for classes. It is also searching for files. It is searching for symbols. It is searching for actions as well. Now actions include the actions from the menu as well. Okay. So if I want to change the theme, so I can just search for theme over here and it will give me the location. So you can see settings and appearance. Okay. And if I click on this, I will straight away land on that setting, and I can change the setting right from here. Okay, so this is about searching anywhere in IntelliJ, and this is very useful. So just make a note of this. So let us start talking about plugins and what are they in IntelliJ. So I'll just head over to menu, and from here I'll access the IntelliJ settings. So if you're on Mac, you should see under File, you should see an option to access preferences. So on Windows, you can straight away go for settings, and on Mac, you can go to preferences, and you should see this window pop up. Now here, if you scroll down, you should go to plugin, and you should see this option. Now from here, you can add any plugins to your IntelliJ IDE. Okay, so plugins are extensions that enhance the core functionality of the IDE. Now this IDE is coming in with some set functionality. If I wish to add more functionalities, I can make use of plugin. For example, I have this plugin installed called Presentation Assistant, which highlights the shortcut for every key that or every action that I invoke. Okay, so this is useful for learning shortcuts. I have macOS key map installed here. Okay, you can install any plugin. So you can go to Marketplace. You can see there is a plugin for Docker. So if you're using Docker in your project, this should help you working with Docker. So it enables you to download and build Docker images and so on. You have plugin for Scala. You have plugin for Python as well. So if you search for Python, and if you wish to use Python in IntelliJ, you can install this plugin. Okay, so there is a lot, it's a complete marketplace, as you can see, under Marketplace tab, and you can just explore what you want to add. So you have a plugin for Flutter as well. So yeah, so this is about plugins and how you can make use of it. Once you've selected the plugin you wish to install, you can click on Install button and hit Apply.